Hi, I'm Gina Ventola, practice manager for Ventola Law. One of the best parts of my job is meeting with business owners. However, at times, it can be difficult to meet in person. That's why I started this show, to introduce you to local business owners in our community. Join me on Your Virtual Coffee, a new kind of networking. Hey everybody, welcome to Your Virtual Coffee, the web show which introduces you to great local businesses in the Denver metro area. My guest today is the awesome Rob Rose. He is the Director of Programs and Engagement for the Denver Metro Chamber and Denver Metro Small Business Development Center. Rob has been with the Chamber and the SBDC for over 20 years and loves to work with small businesses and connecting people within the Denver Metro business community. And with that being said, Rob, welcome to my show.
Well, good morning, Gina. It wouldn't be a virtual coffee without me taking a sip before we get started.
Well, Rob, we like to do business with people we like, know, and trust. So if it's all right with you, let's let the audience get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Are you originally from here?
I love to talk about this because I feel like I'm a very solid semi-native. I've been in Colorado since 1982. I am originally from the Massachusetts area, just outside of Boston. Once you start to know me, which I know you know me pretty well, you see a lot of sports paraphernalia and any and all to do with the Boston area. So it looks like I'm a native of that, of Boston when you see me, but Colorado is definitely my home now. I've built my career here and my family here. My wife and wonderful kids are here as well. So yes, Colorado is home, but originally it was from the Boston area. My dad was a engineer with Raytheon for over 45 years. So that's what brought us to Colorado, and it grew on me. I went to college for a year back in Mass, and it didn't take. Came back here and went to the University of Northern Colorado, and so it goes on. We're 20 plus years now at the Chamber and the SBDC.
Well, speaking of school, what was your favorite subject?
Wow, my favorite subject. I would probably say that it was sports. No kidding. Not really. I was a golfer in high school and at the University of Northern Colorado. But anything business I was a business major for a time, and then I moved it over to more mass comm and sociology is where I finished up. But I really wanted to work in the advertising world is what I thought I was. So like most people of my generation, I am not working in that field by any means. However, I could probably wrap it around what I do day in and day out as probably in that industry. But advertising is what I really wanted to get into, mass communications, if you will. At the time when I graduated in the early 90s, mid 90s, all the advertising agencies were closing up in town. Or they're being absorbed by larger agencies. So that's what sort of brought me down a little bit to the path that I'm at now via first the world of golf. Going back to that, like I said, I played that. I was an assistant golf pro before I actually joined the Chamber and the SBDC 20 odd years ago. So I thought that was going to be my calling and my path, but guess what? There are many of folks that have that as a calling, and it is a very tough, quite honestly, a tough industry to get in and to make money in. So that's when I thought, well, use the business degree a little bit. I did a literally temp to hire at the Chamber way back in the, like I said, in the late 90s, and kind of fell in love with the business world and what the Chamber and the SBDC had to offer. So that's what got me started.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the Chamber because in the interest of full disclosure to our audience, Ventola Law has been a proud member of the Chamber since 2013. It's a great organization. If you're a business owner watching this, I highly recommend call Rob. He will hook you up. This is the way we do business in Denver. Okay, with that being said, Rob, how does the Metro Chamber work with business owners?
I thought you'd never ask, Gina. Thank you. And yes, full disclosure too, Gina and her husband Sam, very, very active members of the chamber. Not only are they involved in programming and events, but they step up to leadership roles and have stepped up into leadership roles. And that leads me into how and why you'd want to be involved in the chamber. We are the largest business group within the chamber, or excuse me, within the state of Colorado, that is. We had a very amazing birthday, if you will, or celebration a few years back when we turned 150. So we're well over 150, about 153-year-old organization now. If you're not familiar with chambers, we are not the only one in town, but I like to say, like I said, the oldest chamber, as well as probably the biggest one west of the Mississippi still right now, and the fact that we have well over 3,000 business members within our chamber. And that chamber actually splinters off into several different areas of focus. My area specifically has to deal with small business. The Small Business Development Center is my area, where we really tackle two areas of focus, which is education and training programs, as well as consulting services that are free of charge. So low-cost training coupled with our 25 plus business consultants really helps us guide folks and really meet folks where they're at with their involvement into the chamber. If they are just getting started, we have classes, we have consultants to work with them to sort of grow and to nurture them along the way to get developed. And then if you are a mid-size or growing company looking to get to the next level, we also have programming and consulting opportunities for you there to make sure that you, your staff, your business are doing the things you need to do to grow in this amazing environment that we're in here in Colorado that is second to none.
And I have to say, as far as the chamber goes, the relationships you build with your fellow business owners is just incredible. I mean, in the groups I've been involved with inside the chamber, I always try to emphasize that the chamber's the place where you build relationships that lead to referrals. So if you, audience member, are watching this and you have questions about the chamber, if you would like to have more information, reach out to Rob. We'll have his contact information at the end of this. But I highly recommend it for that, because it's all about building relationships, not necessarily quote unquote selling. Now, Rob, you touched a little bit about what the Small Business Development Center offers. Could you kind of expand a little bit as far as like the free, and he did say free consulting that the SBDC offers?
Absolutely, I'd love to, Gina. Thank you. The SBDC has right now about 25 different business consultants, and again, areas of focus where it makes the most sense for most business owners to, again, meet you where you're at. That could be anything from just getting started, having that sort of idea up here, getting it down to paper on the cocktail napkin sort of thing. We have folks that are coming in with that to frame out a business plan or a marketing plan or even a feasibility study. We also have consultants that are working with folks in the areas of government contracting, procurement opportunities, marketing, sales, professional or personal development is another big area for us that folks like to come in and see consultants for. Again, another misnomer I'd like to clear up is a lot of time folks come in and they think, well, I'm not the business owner, so I probably can't take advantage of sitting down with one of the consultants. Not true. As I mentioned,
neither am I.
Exactly. We have folks that will come in and they may be the director of sales or marketing, and they're sort of in either a slump or a position where they need to pivot or change some things. Very much open arms to them to come in and rework a marketing plan or develop a business plan specifically for your area of or department that you're in within the organization. That's all fair game for anybody and anybody to come in. And like you mentioned, Gina, it is always free of charge. So definitely want to take advantage of that. On the more sort of concrete training side of things, when we get to that level, what we typically have folks do is before they even sit down with a consultant, we'll have them go through some of our basic courses, or at least one or two anyways, to get them started. We have a track that we run that we call our startup track that has a bundle of all the startup classes you can think of. So it's the startup orientation, it's a business plan basics, a marketing basics, and a finance basics, which is all the components, or are all the components, obviously, of creating that business and getting it sort of off the ground. So we have folks go through either that entire track or at least a couple classes so that some of those preliminary questions that they have, that most folks have coming in, are answered in a group environment, quite honestly, instead of a one-on-one with a consultant, because there's only so much time that you have, and as well as the consultant. So we like to get that under the belt. And then from that point, we do have an amazing program. And I say program because it's a multi-week program, our flagship program at the SBDC called Leading Edge. It is a state-run program, and we have been running it since the early 90s. It's a 10-week business plan writing class. So very popular with folks. Our classes range from the light 20s upwards to the high 40s as far as number of individuals in each one of those classes that we offer 3 times a year. And they meet on Thursday evenings for 3 hours. We have an amazing set of instructors for that class, as well as guest speakers that come in, and it literally works you and runs you through creating a business plan. So again, a lot of times folks don't realize they may need one for a couple different reasons. It's not just for funding, although that's obviously a key reason why a lot of folks come through and do our Leading Edge program, but it's also for a map, a roadmap for you as a business owner or owners of a business, so that you know where you're going and what pivots you may need, or what other offerings, or what whatever it may need for a second location, things of that nature. People come in for that class as well. So very concrete lessons learned through a 10-week program. You have a cohort of other individuals that are going through the same sort of opportunity they are going through to create or build or strengthen a business. So we find, speaking of relationships, that's where relationships happen. As you can probably imagine, those folks are getting to know, like, and trust each other in that environment after 10 weeks, going through sort of the battles, if you will, of creating that business plan. So that cohort gets really tight with themselves as well as the instructor, and it usually just builds on relationships with them, pivoting towards the chamber and getting a little bit more involved there, or some of the other offerings through the Small Business Development Center.
That's a lot. So if you're out there watching this and you want to be a part of this, please call Rob about this. I highly recommend it. And just, that's only part of the things the Chamber offers. The Chamber also offers events. Rob, could you tell us about any upcoming events?
Absolutely. The Chamber, as I mentioned, has a couple of different arms or spokes from what we do in the Small Business Development Center. We have an amazing events team that puts on well over 50 events a year. And then it could be anything from a smaller event, if you will, that we have our monthly networking, which we call our Net 90s. We offer those once a month. It's 90 minutes worth of power networking with all different types of members. If you're a member of the Chamber, you're welcomed, and any member of level of member can be involved in that as well. So if you are just getting started in that company and looking to dig your heels in a little bit and get to know people, networking once a month through the Net 90 is an amazing place to do that. You'll probably run into some folks that are involved in one of our favorite programs, which is the Leads Group program. We have a lot of folks that get not only leads through their individual leads group, but then they blow up their universe. Maybe there's only 15 or 20 people in their leads group. They blow that up to a couple hundred people that could attend our Net 90 and get to know a larger universe, and hopefully even recruit those folks back into their leads group program, which, by the way, Gina happens to be our chair for that program currently. So we thank her for that involvement, engagement, and leadership. Couldn't do it without her, and she's grown that program immensely over the last year and a half that she has been part of that leadership team, as well as a former leader of groups. So we thank Gina for that. But again, events, we're going to, again, just like the Small Business Development Center, we're going to kind of meet you where you're at. So if networking is what you want to do, which hopefully everybody wants to do that to grow their business, Net 90 is the way to do that on a monthly basis, to mark that down in your calendar, know that you're going to have that time to meet fellow business owners and business folks within that 90-minute range. We also, depending upon your membership level, have different opportunities for you to get engaged when you're at a higher level membership. For example, our gold level, we have specialized programming, networking opportunities for you there, where we're trying to make positive collisions with you and other business owners. So our gold program, gold networking, happen on a quarterly basis. So I'd highly encourage folks to get involved with that. You'll also see some of our chamber board members that they get involved in those programs as well. So nice way to get some higher level networking at that level. We also have programming, and I differentiate sort of networking and programming types of events, because programs are a little deeper. So that could be something that's more long range. It could be something that goes a little deeper with smaller groups, but long range. So it could be 6, 8, 10, 12 people. Whether it, again, is the Leads Group program that happens regularly, that we have 9 groups right now that meet virtually, of course, as well as in person at the chamber. But we also have programs, again, that are looking for more business development, relationship marketing focus. So if that's what you are looking for, or if that's where you need to be, then we have programming for you there as well. We also have traditional programming, our annual meeting, our golf tournament, our business awards events. All these are for you to make, again, those positive collisions with other folks that are in business that you want to meet, and also to obviously to show your wares off a little bit of who you are and what you do. So it could be a celebration from our annual meeting to sharing what has happened over the last year of success and on to the next year, as well as things, like I said, that's a little more social gathering of a golf tournament that we do once a year. That is a nice way to, whether you're a golfer or not, it's a great way to mix and mingle with folks that are looking to do the same on a fun day on a golf course, hopefully under sunshine and not rain. So a lot of different ways, again, to meet you where you're at in your networking or your program needs. The chamber is there to support you in any way that we can.
Rob, let's talk about Power Partners. And it's kind of unique with the chamber because the chamber is kind of a nonprofit, correct?
Correct. We are a 501c6.
Okay. For our audience, a Power Partner is a business that, or business owners who work together, who target the same ideal client, but are not their competition. For example, a hairstylist and a personal trainer. Their ideal client are people who want to look good. And so they may trade referrals back and forth, but they're not competing with each other for the same client. So first, to understand Power Partners, Rob, let's talk about who your ideal client is.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. Our ideal client really is a business person who is looking to either grow themselves, their business, their staff, in the simplest of terms. So it doesn't really matter what size of business. It's that business person that's looking to grow.
Okay, so with that being said, so business people, because it's like you mentioned earlier, it doesn't necessarily have to be the owner, because I don't own Ventola Law. That's all Sam. Who else targets this client? I'm thinking some government agencies would. Is that correct?
True. So when most folks think of government agencies and sort of the Small Business Development Center, they and or chambers, quite honestly, we have very little to do with government agencies. We are, the SBA, the Small Business Administration, is actually the parent organization, which a lot of people don't realize, for 15 different small business development centers in the state of Colorado alone. There are over 1,100 SBDCs around the United States. So we are, I like to say small, but definitely a mighty force, helping businesses in all different aspects. Yeah, chambers and other SBDCs are good power partners for us because they work hand in glove with each other, quite honestly. The things that both of us do are a little bit different size-wise and offerings-wise, but yes, we all at the end of the day are looking to, again, go back to that, that original statement of a power partner, of trying to blow up that person's universe so that they understand that there are other folks that they can work with to help a common need or a common client. So just as you mentioned, your example, I always like to, talk about like real estate. If, there's a residential real estate person, then it's great for them to obviously meet somebody that does financing for them, or that could do staging for homes, or, landscape, all these things that unfortunately are huge opportunities for businesses that unfortunately I think a lot of folks just don't see that extension of what a power partner can be. They just think of a lot of times of, wow, I need to put my head down, do a lot of work, and keep to my lane and not worry about the others, and hopefully competition doesn't bump me too much. But unfortunately, a lot of times people don't realize the opportunity they have with a so-called competitor that really ends up being a power partner. We see those collisions happen constantly at the Chamber and the SBDC, where people think, well, I'll introduce someone or a few folks to people, and they really, well, wait a minute, Rob, I don't know that I can work with Gina or with whomever, because I think they would be a competitor. And I thought, well, no, even though they may even be in the same industry, they're driving in this lane, you're driving in that lane. Again, coming together can make both of you that much more powerful, them introducing you to possible clients and vice versa. So it's real fun, quite honestly, when those opportunities come amongst me.
And I kind of like to call it business matchmaking, where you have two people like, wow, I think you two could work together, not sell to one another, but work together to sell to the public, or as you put it, blow up your universe. I love that phrase, by the way. Rob, what is the best way for people to reach out to you at the Chamber?
Yeah, so easiest way, two different ways, phone call or email is the easiest way to get in touch with me directly. My direct line is 303-620-8045, or even better yet, my cell phone, which is on my tagline of my email, is even better. It comes to me, which is 720-771-0286. And of course, email is always welcome for quick thoughts or any feedback, and that is rob.rose, R-O-S-E, at denverchamber.org.
You heard it, folks. And Rob will include information at the end of the video that has all this information. So when someone's watching this, they'll have your contact information.
Wonderful.
With all that being said, and we've kind of covered quite a bit in this episode, do you have any last thoughts for those business professionals?
Yeah, my last thought would be this. Our sort of tagline at the Chamber is we are every day putting Coloradans to work in really good jobs is really what it boils down to. So if you're looking to, again, blow up your universe, get involved with the Denver Metro Chamber. There are so many different ways that we can help you, whether it is through, again, my area focus, the Small Business Development Center, through our Economic Development Corporation, our Leadership Foundation, Public Affairs. There are so many different in scope of opportunities through the Chamber that are working for you every day. We'd sure like to make that your goal to join the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. We welcome you.
Perfect. Rob, thank you for joining me today on your virtual coffee.
Thank you, Gina. It was my pleasure.
Audience, thank you for joining us. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. There should be like a subscribe button down here, a little red button that says subscribe to our YouTube channel. And business owners, let's talk. Your virtual coffee is sponsored by Ventola Law. Ventola Law, mediation and legal representation at an expert level. You can find them at ventolalaw.com. Thanks for joining me today. For more information on your virtual coffee, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wait for it, our website at yourvirtualcoffee.com. Thanks again for watching and have an incredible day.